Welcome to Insights and Impacts 2026. When Phil originally asked me to MC this event this evening, in my mind, I typically tend to say yes to things before I fully think them through, but I kind of pictured a smaller crowds. So to say I am pleasantly surprised and super excited to be up in front of you tonight, but also incredibly nervous. So if you see me bumble over my words or mess something up, let's just roll with it, okay? We'll pretend like it never happened. Okay, well, tonight is about a conversation about where we've been, where we are going, and how we can work together to make Hardin County an even better place to live, work, and grow. If you don't know who I am, my name is Rachel Brantingham, and I'm honored to be your host this evening. We have an incredible panel with us representing different perspectives from across our community. Before we dive in, I want to set just a couple ground rules, okay? We're here to have some respectful dialogue. We're here to share ideas, not debate. You all come from all different walks of life, obviously all different perspectives, and we honor those. But the goal here is to encourage growth in Hardin County and come together as a group. So let's keep those that commentary respectful. We're going to be on a bit of a tight timeline here, so we want to keep the responses to 45 to 60 seconds. So, gentlemen, I have your commitment to that. I'll try not to cut you off. I'll try to be kind about it at least. I'm just going to jerk the mic from you, but
that'll work.
And engagement is welcome. I went around the room and was able to grab a couple questions from the audience. Obviously, we don't have time for every single one because I'm sure we could stay here all evening. But if there's something you would specifically like to share, they gave me this mic. So I will be running around with that mic. So we'd love to have you all interact with our speakers. So if there's something you'd specifically like to dive deeper on or want more feedback on, I'll make sure to grab that. Just raise your hand so I come to you, okay? All right, I want to introduce our panelists to you this evening. I'm super excited about these four gentlemen up here. First, we have Taul. He is the Hardin County Judge Executive, bringing the government perspective on county development, infrastructure, and policy.
No tomatoes, okay?
I've known Taul most of my life, so very excited to have you, sir, here.
Thank you.
Next, we have Phil Taul, who is Taul's son. He is the founder of Hardin Local.
Yeah. Good to see everybody.
He is our community's podcast and social media platform, keeping us connected to local businesses, events, and stories. So we are also joined by Scott Lucas. He is a community organizer who works to bring people, businesses, and organizations together for collaborative impact. Happy to have you, Scott.
Thank you.
And if you don't know Dustin Kiser, he is representing the voice of young professionals, those in their 20s and 30s, which I'm proud to say I'm still in, and who are building their careers and futures right here in Hardin County. So thank you all for being here. We are excited. I am super excited about some of the questions that I gained from the audience. I myself am selfishly excited to hear some of the responses from you guys. So let's dive in. But before we get into it in the questions, Dustin, tell us a little bit about Project Impact and what this night is all about.
Sure. So Project Giveback is a new initiative designed and implemented by the Central Kentucky Community Foundation. We have two of the lovely ladies here. We have Devette Sweeney and we have Liz Proctor. They reached out to me a couple months back and they said, hey, your name came up a couple times. We've been looking for somebody to help champion this cause for us. We're looking for somebody like you. And I said, thank God for everybody. There's nobody else like me. So we had a couple conversations and I said, let's not settle for like me. Let's just use me because I don't know how to say no either, Rachel. So, they've been kind enough to entrust me with help championing this cause for them. Central Kentucky Community Foundation does so much for our community and our local communities around us as well. I'm sure you're all familiar with that, but Project Giveback specifically is an initiative designed to encourage young professionals, young people in the communities to get engaged with philanthropy and community service. And the initiative that they decided that we wanted to champion within that is scholarships for non-traditional students. So a need that we identified was that as you graduate high school, there are plenty of scholarships offered by different organizations, but there are plenty of people who are trying to get a trade degree or a professional degree that don't have the funding and struggle in the in-between, right? You might be a single mother that can't afford to pay, or somebody that's went back to school later on in your career. So we're trying to help those types of people have scholarships as well. So all the money that we raise tonight will go towards a fund for future scholarships for that. So I really appreciate the opportunity to represent them and the cause that they are championing.
So don't forget about our silent auction. You can come up here and register. We've got all kinds of different items. That pie is going home with me. I believe your wife named that.
She did.
So, cheesecake. Okay, that's going home with me. I eyed it from this side, and I'm like, that's happening. So, tonight when I get home. All right, guys. Well, so we're gonna break this up. We have some main discussion. We're gonna bring some questions that we have, and we're gonna share those with you and ask our panel. And then we're gonna open up to the questions that I gathered, and we hopefully might even have some time to take some additional ones that if I wasn't able to get around to you directly. So, the first question, I have spoken to the group, and they have all donated their time specifically to Judge Executive Keith Taul to speak directly to you guys about looking back. So what were the biggest achievements and challenges facing Hardin County in 2025 from your perspective?
All right. Well, I'll try to answer that as quickly as I can, since now I have, 4 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Well, one of the first things that we did, and we started this really back in 2024, is we wanted to have a third-party analysis of our emergency services. So I'm going to focus in here on public safety. That's something that we really needed to have some improvements in that area. So we wanted a third-party assessment. That wrapped things up about a year ago, and we were able to take that information, distribute it out. We had a fiscal court. We had a report out and various different ways to do that, and to all the stakeholders. So we've been utilizing that, been referencing it. And one of the things, here's a couple things that we were able to accomplish as far as public safety, specifically in EMS, our ambulance service. One of the first ones that we were able to do, and this is through a lot of collaboration with our adjacent county, Bullitt County, and the judge executive there, and his team and our team working together, and we're able to come up with an agreement that they would take care of all the ambulance runs to our most northern part of our county, West Point. The issue there, when you look at response times at West Point, we were having to send an ambulance out of our Radcliffe station. So that was taking 25 minutes maybe to get there. Way too long. And so through that agreement, now they are able to come out of Nichols, which is only about 5 minutes away from West Point. And so that response time was reduced, 70, 80%. So that was an exciting accomplishment. We also had a need in the western part of the county for better ambulance service. They really didn't have ambulance service, have it for 40 years. Response times of 30, 40, even 45 minutes coming out of Sonora or out of Elizabethtown. So it was a bumpy road to get there. If anybody was following that, managed to upset almost every community in the county, trying to stay within the budget or, trying to not impact it too much. But we were able to just add a 9th ambulance to our fleet and place that in White Mills. So that since we have done that, the response times have been about half of what they were, so maybe closer to 15, 20 minutes. So pretty excited about that. We've also purchased 3 new ambulances last year at a cost of about $800,000 and about $1 million worth of medical devices to replace some of the aging equipment in those ambulances. So a whole lot was focused on our EMS. We also saw for the first time in the area of fire, 2 of our volunteer fire departments. One of them was struggling, and we were able to help them along to merge into one fire department. So that new fire department, a volunteer fire department, is West Hardin Fire and Rescue. We completed a 2-year EMS improvement initiative. As a result of that, just a lot of internal things that went on and lots of changes, about a $1.3 million increase in revenue at the same into our EMS department that tried to offset some of the subsidizing that we were doing from our general fund. So I'm very proud of that and all the work that went into it from our team. We did, one of the things I wanted to mention was our emergency management, the response that we had from the April flooding. There was a whole lot of stuff that had to happen with that to start out with, just to get through the first day and the first few days, especially in West Point, on the Ohio River, in Colesburg, were 2 hard hit areas, there were actually 50 water rescues, and there was a lot of agencies that were a part of that to make that successful. Our emergency management director, Joey Scott, was leading the charge. But I'm telling you, I've got down here 27 agencies and organizations, churches, etc., that we know of that were a part of collaborating and coming together as a community. So I was so excited whenever all that was going on, even though it was a disaster, the way that we came together as a county in our cities and everyone. Through all that, we worked with FEMA, which isn't always easy, okay? My deputy judge, Bonnie, who's here tonight, Bonnie Cerisi, and really every single department in Hardin County government, working with them, and we were able to help get $3 million in individual assistance for those that needed and had damage, and $1 million or more in public assistance for some damaged roads. So that was a big deal. Just wanted to mention it because I'm very proud of the way everybody came together to come out of a very bad situation. But the silver lining is Hardin County steps up whenever we need to, and we work together. No doubt about it. How much more time have I got?
I'll give you another minute.
One more minute. All right. Okay. I want to mention recent development, animal care milestone. Some of you animal lovers and dog lovers will appreciate this the most maybe, but Hardin County Court issued the harshest sentence in Kentucky history for animal cruelty, 6 years sentence for 32 counts. And this was something that we were concerned about as a 2.5 years worth of work. Eric Carr was part of that. We had the Radcliffe Police that were a part of that. Of course, our animal shelter was a big part of that. To pull all that together for 2.5 years and actually got a conviction, and this person will serve time in prison for what she did. Okay, those are probably the biggest things.
Perfect.
And we'll go from there.
Thank you. All right, guys. So collaboration is a word we hear a lot, but it doesn't always translate into action. How can better collaboration drive positive community impact in 2026? What works, what doesn't, and what gets in the way? Phil, you work with a lot of different groups and businesses. What's your take?
Well, before I answer that question, I did want to say hi to our Hardin local audience. For those of you who don't know, we're live screening this right now, so they're watching as well. We thank you guys for joining us. When it comes to collaboration, I found that it's not as easy as it sounds. I started Hardin Local in 2016, the first time around, and I had a lot of hard times being able to collaborate with people and find other people, not even like-minded people, because I don't even think like-minded collaboration really matters that much. I think it's just, you just got to realize that everybody's different and we're stronger together. And I think that's something that I've realized over the past year and going into the future is when I rebooted the Hardin Local podcast, people like Scott, people like Rachel, and our whole team, we're all different. We're all different politically. We're all different life places. Now, none of us really have the same thoughts. And I just think that it's very key. And that's one of the things I love about this county. Once you actually go out and realize, hey, I don't need to just find a bunch of people that agree with me to collaborate with. I should find people that maybe don't agree with me. And that's pretty much, I think that's my minute.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. Scott, what's your take on this?
Well, what I've learned with my collaborations, it's more about the mindset more than anything. I mean, just like Phil was talking about a fit, you know, different personalities, you still have to make sure the personalities work together a little bit. And the other aspect that people don't really consider with collaborations is it's not just like a handshake type of thing. It's always, you know, we play the right role. You know, we're in our own lane when it comes to things. And, you know, when it comes to the different businesses I've dealt with here locally and things of that nature, it's always upbeat. You know, I know some people may not want to collaborate, but once they see what kind of Phil was saying, you know, hey, this is for the benefit, not just for us, but everyone's audience. You know, that's what I've seen. It just really makes an impact on there.
Dustin, you obviously collaborate with a lot of other entrepreneurs even some that are in competition with each other. How does that translate?
So I think that collaboration is key to succeeding, which all of you all have touched on already. And collaboration doesn't necessarily mean being with the people that you are the most like. If you saw our group chat on Facebook between the 6 of us, you'd probably want to pull your hair out because you have these guys that are super analytical and tech driven. And you have people like me and Jana that are all about feelings and encouraging people to show up and like, how can we get people to be there? So it was pretty interesting. But at the end of the day, we're all working towards a common goal. So whether we disagreed, it was very cordial and respectful, and we were still trying to get to the finish line together. So that was kind of endearing to see. One of the parts of the question was what gets in the way of collaboration. I think a lot of times ego, pride. We've always done it this way. I think anytime you hear that, that should be a red flag for anybody. It's great that it's worked in the past, but unfortunately, the future is coming at us quicker than we've ever experienced in our lives. So just because we've done something this way forever doesn't mean that's how we need to be doing it. And unfortunately, we're not going to make any progress if we don't put our egos aside and start working together and embracing people with different ideologies, different backgrounds, and different ways of thinking. So,
Keith, I can only imagine that collaboration is key in your role. How challenging can that be at times?
It's very challenging. I think one of the things that gets in the way is a misunderstanding or not a clear goal. If as you can imagine, if that's not clear, then everybody's kind of pulling in different directions. So even after that has been clearly defined, I think that some of the things that have already been mentioned with personalities and just maybe a different side goal, or maybe my personal goal doesn't match up exactly. And so we start to have some arguments and things aren't moving in a good direction. But I just think it takes a huge amount of communication. And I mentioned one where we collaborated with another county, and the goal was clear. We wanted to reduce the response time to the people for ambulance in West Point. And through that discussion and understanding that clearly, we were able to collaborate and come up with an agreement. So that's the kind of success you can have whenever things are done appropriately.
Awesome. Len, I can say that bringing everybody together in a group and being face-to-face, it has a different impact, right? Social media can be misread, print can be misread, but actually having a group of us together and being able to collaborate together in one room, it's a game changer. All right, guys, moving to the next question. Our county's future depends on attracting and retaining young talent. What do young professionals play in shaping Hardin County's future, and how can the community better support them? Let's start with Dustin, specifically because this is, of course, something that you're very passionate about. Talk to us a little bit about how we can better support young entrepreneurs.
So I think that we have this idea that young people are going to impact the future, but the reality is that young people are the future. It's not just an impact, it's the future, right? So I have a challenge. This is a dual-sided challenge here. For young people, having been experiencing this firsthand lately, show up, do things. I'm tired of hearing people complain that older people, no offense, older people, don't want our opinions, our feedback. They don't care about what we have to say, because the reality is if you're not showing up to those rooms and giving your opinion and at least going to bat, right? Mighty Casey strikes out. If you're not showing up, you have no right to complain that you don't get a voice or a seat at the table because you didn't advocate for yourself. So young people, show up. Make them tell you no. And if they do, that's fine. We'll do our own cool stuff together. And older people, not old people, older people, I encourage you, empower these younger people, okay? We have good ideas. We are passionate. We have skills. We care. We care about a lot of things that you care about, right? Despite what social media might tell you, we are working together for a better future for each other, for ourselves, for our kids, our grandkids, and we can't do that alone. It's two-sided.
Woo, preach.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know who wants to follow after that, but does anybody have any input after that? Scott, you look ready to respond.
No, I mean, everything that Dustin says about it is true. I mean, the pride and ego, you've probably heard the love of money is the root of all evil, but it's actually your pride and ego can get in the way, is it? And when it comes to collaborations, whether it's young, old, we just got to be more mindful that, whether it happens here or in another state, it starts with us. So if we want to change, we have to be the change, and we just have to lead by example for the younger generation.
Perfect. Keith?
I'll agree. I mean, I'm the old one, so I obviously, and I think as an older person, have life experience, we do have some some value in that life experience and the wisdom, hopefully, that we're able to provide. But I think us older folks need to be willing to do that and take extra time. And if we've got a younger person that is interested in listening and asks the questions, we should be ready to provide that information and help them as much as possible and see value in our younger people. They've got energy, got new ideas. They want to improve. So I think it's a great combination, actually, if given opportunity to help each other.
Perfect. Phil, anything to add?
I think that when I think about it, there's a lot of, I don't call it hate, but there's a lot of negativity between boomers, millennials, and even the younger generations. And I hear it a lot to where, you'll hear the older generation say, well, the younger generation just doesn't work that hard, or they're not into working that hard. And maybe, yeah, I like to work hard, but I'd rather work smarter, But if working smarter requires working harder, I'm down for it. So I think it's a good common understanding amongst older and younger, and actually having conversations, and maybe even being like, hey, let's not talk bad about the younger people and act like they're lazy. Because I'm sure there are lazy younger, but there's lazy boomers too out there, So I just think that it's a catch-22, and I'm all about learning from my elders.
Good answer.
Phil, you look long and hard at cases. I love it. All right. Well, thank you, panelists, for answering those questions. Now we're going to really deep dive into the questions that I collected from you guys before we started. So I want to direct these at you. Obviously, you can pick and choose who wants to respond. The first one that I'd like to start with was from Glenn Downs. Any new developments on the Ford plant and what's happening out there? Obviously, Blue Oval, SK, and then now Ford. What's going on? Anything new? I know the last time we spoke to you on Hardin Local, it was specifically right after everything kind of came out, so there wasn't really any new developments. Anything new you can share with us?
Well, I think, yeah, there's been a whole lot of effort, again, collaboration with a couple of the cabinets at the state level that are applying resources. It's been pretty impressive, actually, kind of a quick response type of team. And working with the Industrial Foundation, working with the Chamber, just Lincoln Trail Ad, ECTC, all these groups together, trying to figure out how to get all of these employees an opportunity for a job. That's been the focus, as it should be. Because we have 1,600 people that their lives are turned upside down, and about half of those are Hardin Countyans, so about 800. So it's a big thing, and I think the 22nd of this month there's going to be a huge job fair, and I think right now there's maybe 23 employers, but there's an expectation and really a goal of 50, 75, and within a 45-minute radius of Elizabethtown. So I'm confident that these employers are going to step up. They all need good employees, and we got a fantastic group there at Blue Oval that are looking, and we just need to get them together. And so that's the big focus right now. Longer term, I don't know how much information I had initially, but Ford, we got the better end of that deal, I believe, because we have a long history with Ford in Kentucky, and they are going to infuse another $2 billion into this project at plant number 1, taking all that equipment out, putting in new equipment that will provide a product that's about 4 years worth of orders right now for these battery packs that are used a lot of times for data centers and other uses. So I'm encouraged that that's going to happen, and it's going to be about 2-year time frame. So we're going to have a whole bunch of contractors coming in. I'm sure there'll be local contractors that will be asked and be able to bid on different jobs of removing equipment and bringing the new equipment in. So it's not all bad, but it is for those 800 people, and I feel terrible for them. But I think there's a lot of effort to try to get them jobs and get them through this difficult time.
Okay. To confirm, I know the original reports were like 1,600 jobs. I know you just mentioned 800. Is it really more like 800 jobs that are being absorbed in our local economy, or is it the the full 1,600 that were there employed?
Well, it's 1,600 total, 800 people that live in Hardin County.
Great.
Okay. So those are the ones, of course, that I'm most focused on and want to help as much as possible. But that's just Hardin County.
So I have a question from Sadie Yarborough, and I wanted to bunny off of it because I felt like it was a perfect moment. Can the economy actually absorb the amount of people that are looking for jobs right now? Do you actually think that that's even a possibility?
I think it would be tough for all the companies and possible job opportunities to come just from Hardin County. So the focus really is about a 45-mile radius, and even as far as Bowling Green for some opportunities. I wouldn't be overly optimistic that we could absorb all those 800 right here in Hardin County.
And is there some concern for the fact that those were kind of promised higher paying jobs in comparison to maybe what is offered here?
I'm sure it'll be a mix. There may be some better paying jobs out there. I don't have any data really to say one way or the other, but I know there's employers that are paying high wages. So I'm sure people will be able to find some equivalent paying jobs, here in Hardin County and in this radius.
Yeah.
They may not all be, though.
Right. So if you're an employer looking to hire, I know I speak to different entrepreneurs daily who are like, hey, I'm looking for this position, but they're so bogged under that they don't have time to get that out. I mean, it's a great opportunity now to have someone who is highly skilled come in and support your business.
Very much so. So if you're looking for people, now's the time to go ahead and be a part of that job fair. Would be an easy way to plug into that. And there's not going to be any charge, I think, for any of that. So you can just go there for free setup and start meeting some potential employees.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take Sadie Yarborough's second question. She asked, what is the opinion of the current local economy? So, and I'd love to hear some varying details, different opinions. Obviously, I think we all come from a little bit of a different background, so we're talking collaboration here. What are your all's personal opinions based on what's happening in our local economy with everything that happened with Blue Oval?
I see somewhat it is improving. I mean, I live in Radcliffe, so they're still building that Baptist Health Center there, and it's still progressing. So when you have construction that's progressing, to me, that's just a sign of the economy's growing and getting better. So
I also think just based on the information I've heard, just running the podcast and also working with a cybersecurity company here in town, and also just talking to my friends, a couple of years ago, it seemed like there was more people that didn't have jobs than do now. So, and when I go out and about and meet and greet people, it just seems like people seem to be happier. And maybe that's because COVID's got further behind. I don't know, but it does seem like things are going better.
So I can't speak from a long-term perspective because I'm still relatively new to Hardin County. I've been here just over 2 years now, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the economy growth that you guys have been experiencing the last 5 or 10 years. I know some people in the room might think me being here is a bad thing, and that's okay. But some of you think it's a good thing, and I appreciate those people. I really enjoy the draw of diverse people, of diverse ideas, backgrounds. It seems like Hardin County has historically relied on Fort Knox, and we still do that in a lot of ways. But now we're getting people that aren't just military background. We're getting a lot of new people that are excited to be here. You no longer have to move to Louisville or Lexington or Nashville, somewhere like that, to get good, high-paying jobs. You can do that right here in Hardin County, you're more invested in the community and more likely to want a better future for everybody around you, if that's the case.
Yeah, there seems to be still a whole lot of competition. Just if I just look at our own departments here in Hardin County government, especially looking at our ambulance EMS department, that is our largest department, about 70, 75 people. And it's hard. There's a lot of competition out there for EMTs and paramedics. And so those folks are getting lured in by other counties and municipalities. And it's a continuous effort to try to keep them here. So anybody that wants to be an EMT, paramedic, we're looking, right? 911 people, that's a difficult job. It's not for every personality, but we have those folks develop a good skill set, and they're lured out by other places with maybe a little higher wage or whatever it might be. So this, to me, the fact that nobody's leaving, that's not the case. A lot of things are happening, and so it's a struggle to find enough employees as one measurement of a strong economy.
I had a question. I don't know if you know. Are there still a lot of people that are moving out of cities, like New York or bigger cities on West Coast, relocating to areas like this or here? Or I don't know if you guys know. I know we've had some neighbors that have moved in from, in Cecilia that moved from cities. So I think that's kind of helped this county grow. Yeah. Oh,
What?
can you not hear me? I was just talking about the fact that people are leaving big cities and moving to more rural areas. I think that may be something that's going on there too.
From the housing side of things, I thought I would share a couple little key things that we've noticed. So we're mapping trends, right? Based on the past several years in comparison to what's currently happening. We're trying to monitor if there's any significant impact to the housing market industry. Obviously, rentals are a different story. You can imagine that with the loss of that many jobs, there are multiple rental properties still available. I spoke with a large investor today who they're acquiring 120 properties in our area for rental properties. And I asked him, do you know what just happened in our community? He said, I'm well aware. I know exactly why I'm making this investment. So I think, just to give you an idea, he was out of California making that investment. It's not someone here local. So if you understand, I think when people are looking at our economy, they're seeing growth, a consistent growth in a stable environment. So from the housing industry, just to give you guys a little idea, last year's sales, I keep hearing, how's the market, right? It seems like it's slowing down. Last year at this exact time, 30-day picture was 115 days on market for a home, an average home. This year it's 94. Same time frame, same measurement, just different years, okay? So that's actually down. In comparison, interest rates have come down. We're back into a very standard rate. So I expect housing drives economy, okay? So we are at the front lines of what happens. One home sale generates over 150 different actions. In fact, probably thousands in really the general scheme of things. But housing is a huge indicator of how the market is moving. We're seeing homes go pending. It was a $1.2 million house that went pending the other day in 48 hours. Just give you an idea. Those higher buyers are here. They're still moving. I've had homes that were sitting on the market for over 6 months without a single showing go under contract last week, okay? So we had another property just today go under contract. I'm super excited for my investor. He's held that property here for a couple months, and it just went under contract. And I think the reason for that is perceived impacts of a market versus actual. I think there was a perception, and there's always a historic slowdown during the holiday season. And I think as we've come into 2026, I haven't even been eating. I've been so busy in the housing industry, guys. So if that speaks at all, I know I'm not on the panel. I know my opinion is limited to just housing, but when it comes to the housing industry, we are seeing things speed up actually seasonably early this year in comparison to past years. So. All right. Thank you, guys. Anything else you wanted to bunny trail off of that comment?
I also think, back in 2018, I gave a talk. We used to do this thing called Startup Garden. And in our area, and I guess it's kind of considered a metro area. It's ranked in the top 5 in the whole country. And it has been since 2018, and that hasn't changed. So I think people need to remember that we're still in a very strong startup area here.
I've got a funny question from Richard Cerisi. He is asking, what county is West Point in? And actually, I'd love to put it to the audience. Can anybody tell me what county West Point is in? Hardin County. Okay, thank you, Richard, for that one.
They all said Hardin County.
All right, I have a question, actually. So we are joined by General Dion. We're so thankful to have you in the room. So a question that he presented to our panel: where are we at with getting the progress of the VA clinic into Elizabethtown? I know there was a zoning meeting last night. I was unfortunately unable to attend due to a previous commitment. But any updates on the progress? He mentioned that he had to drive all the way to Lexington today. And I know that has been some comments that I've heard from our local community that with this VA clinic, we're going to be better able to support our military communities. So where are we at with that? How soon do we expect to see movement on that?
I haven't been tracking it that closely. That's in Elizabethtown. I think so. I'll if it was good, I'll take credit. If it was bad, Mayor Gregory's fault. all the way. But I do know that there has been progress, and I'm confident that we're going to get that clinic here, and that will make a difference, along with all the other aspects and different things that we talk about, Hardin County and all Elizabethtown, Radcliffe, Pine Grove, West Point, all of our cities, and how we work together and all acknowledge the importance of our military and our base. Fort Knox. It's not only a place where we have a huge number of people. They go there every day to work, and part of our defense of this country, it's so important. It's also an economic driver for Hardin County. It has been for a long time. And without Fort Knox, I mean, we're kind of, it kind of smooths things out for us economically, because those folks are going to work and they're still getting paid, whether the economy is good or it's not so good. And so it's a very, very important. Some of us that have lived here our whole lives kind of just take it for granted. We don't realize how good you have it with Fort Knox right here close by. So I'll say too that part of expressing how important it is, we recently had a trip to Washington, D.C. I was invited and was able to go along with some other mayors, some various business people, the CEO of the hospital. It was about 15 of us that went, part of KRDA. I'll get this wrong. The Knox Regional Development Alliance. Okay. So we went there, went to the Pentagon, talked to some people that can make some decisions of whether they're going to bring other missions, to Fort Knox, or maybe take some away. So we were able to meet several people there, and also to Senator McConnell's office and the Congressman Guthrie's office. And so we heard that that's not a common thing for that many people to leave for a few days and come to Washington, D.C. and meet with all these folks. So I think it was a very important visit, and I'm hoping that it was valuable to keep Fort Knox as strong as it is and not see it diminish in any way. So I'm excited about that.
Well, and our next question is going to kind of dig into that a little bit more. I did want to speak to that question just briefly. I work closely with the developer of the subdivision that borders the property that has been designated for the VA clinic. That property has been completely cleared. Preparation has begun. I know that the developer has been speaking of that property, who attended the zoning meeting. I spoke with him today. He spoke like it was a done deal, that is going to be the future location of the VA clinic. So I know I work a lot with the local residents in that area. I'm selling several homes there. And the overall attitude has been, we are excited, we agree that it's a need, and we're happy to have them in that location. So if that matters at all, of course, that's not coming from the city officials, but from my understanding, it is a done deal. So, all right, guys. Well, then I want to dig a little bit more into the Fort Knox rumors. There's kind of some conversation, some buzz around the fact that there may be a scale back. And I know I spoke to General Dion before we got started. He is willing to also kind of step in on this conversation. I want to know if there's a 5-year and a 10-year plan. We've seen massive amounts of growth in Radcliffe, right? And so the investments there, do they contribute to the overall support of attracting units to Fort Knox? Because we are in a better position to offer amenities to soldiers, housing the soldiers, and that such. So 2-part question. A, does Radcliffe and the impact that has been made there help benefit this? And 2, what's our 5-year plan? What's our 10-year plan? What are we going to see from the military going forward? And I'm going to walk to General Dion with this microphone while you guys start talking.
Can we defer to him? Yeah. Our time's freela. That's it. We're good time. Okay. Yeah.
What? Is it on? I definitely am not speaking for Lieutenant General Johnny Davis, who's a new commander. I'm definitely not speaking for Major General Mo Barnett. He's the Cadet Command Commander. But for you Chevy drivers, I would argue Fort Knox is like a rock. It's got good bones. And what it's got is good collaboration. My very first time at Fort Knox, I was a young lieutenant, probably a lot skinnier, 1993. Radcliffe wasn't where people wanted to be. They do now. E-Town didn't have all the amenities that you found in other posts, but you have it now. And with the help of people like Steve Bratcher continuing to move that state income tax down, you will compete with Indiana and Tennessee, where you're losing, the retirees to because they're not taxed. But I can also tell you, this is anecdotal, Roger's opinion, you are attracting the young soldiers who are just looking to get out of the military at that 4, 6, 7, 8 year range. Most of them, a lot of them, they see the value of this community and they stay. They're not going back to any town in America. This is where they want to stay. Your schools, your businesses, your amenities, the cost of your housing, your medical care. Those are all super attractive. So I would argue the collaboration is there. Fort Knox has taken a couple licks here recently, and I agree 100%. Knox Regional Development Alliance this January started their next 5-year plan. I would say, dear everybody, at least understand that and advocate for it and show your advocacy for it. But it just started now. That's Lance O'Brien. Get involved. But additionally, we go the ways of the political back and forth. So there has been changes to Knox that would never have been dreamed of 12 months ago that are now dramatic impact. But for those who've been around a long time, and we were just an armor school, that was a 2-star general and a 1-star general. You now have 17 generals. All logistics for Central Command, that's Kuwait, Iraq, etc. It's out of Fort Knox. All of NATO Army, that's 5th Corps, that's all Fort Knox. All recruiting in the globe, Fort Knox. All ROTC in the nation, Fort Knox. You are a hub. Your bones are good. And you're sitting on 110,000 acres of beautiful ranges, and they just made one of the best ranges. I see Fort Knox with a strong future. You're going to see a little bit here and go, oh, man, we didn't want that to happen. But you're going to look over here and go, oh, that's awesome. And I think it's going to continue to grow. You keep growing, they'll keep growing. When the town rolls up, they're going to look for something different, as is happening in some communities. But that's not your community. I think Fort Knox has a strong future. Roger's opinion, not paid.
Thank you, General Dion. I did want to credit this question to Zach Humphrey. I did not give him the credit for it. So any of you guys up front, I know you had mentioned that you actually traveled. What was the conversation like? Anything new that you can share with us as to their plans for Fort Knox?
Well, KRDA had put together some data, some studies, comparing Fort Knox to, I think, 4 other bases around the country, and different metrics like cost of and availability of medical services. Really, those probably 6 or 7 different metrics that were provided, and in almost all of them showed Fort Knox being far superior to any of the other bases. And it was with these 15 people that went there to D.C., that was a visual. That was a visual saying, we work together. We love Fort Knox, and we're a place that that people will want to come to and will want to stay here. And we are family oriented. So a lot of the folks that are coming and serving our country, and that's the stuff they're looking for. And so that's the message that we were putting out there, and I think we were successful in getting that across. So I'm very excited about that.
Good. Well, we love our military community. If anybody else want to add in on that question briefly? All right, guys. Well, I have 2 more questions for you guys. And then, of course, if we have some time, I'd love to open it up to anybody who didn't get a question answered that they wanted to specifically hear on. So from Selena Hudson, how do you see AI taking Hardin County into the future? Phil, Scott, I think this is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, do you want to go first?
If it's done correctly and applied and not abused, it'll do even more than what we expect it to. I know there's a lot of fear mongering with AI. People don't understand it. I'll be doing an AI workshop with Selena at the Get Your Money Right this Saturday. More specific for students on the academic, but from the entrepreneurial side or just regular tradesmen, it can actually optimize your productivity. You've probably heard this before, and I can say this unfortunately, but yet fortunately, that the businesses who do apply AI, you have an unfair advantage if you learn it. The businesses that don't, that's where the whole fear mongering comes in, where AI is going to come in and take over jobs and this and that. it's only going to take over jobs if you're not already working the job correctly. You know, I've always, beside AI, I've always believed that you work yourself out of a job. Like if you get fired or whatever. And so with AI, that just kind of adds that factor to where some employers are looking to reduce their bottom line and do that. But at the same time, with that fear mongering is that growth. You know, teach your employees how to use AI. Maybe if you don't know how to use it, you know, someone like Taul or you and myself, we can teach people how to use AI and be that AI operator. It kind of just helps your business elevate more, or even your occupation, or even your employees. So it's here from a very, you know, we were talking about young professionals, you know, they're going to college. They need to learn how to use it effectively and not abuse it. And so having the education that we have, you know, a lot of growth if used correctly.
Yeah. I think you got 3 to 5 years to really figure out what's going on, especially professionally, especially kids that are in high school now and in college. A good example is I'm working on a big RFP for, it's a $1 billion company. It's not a local company, but they are trying to add AI to their phone system to have AI agents answer and route and check for fraud. And they're not looking to get rid of their human employees. They're looking to enhance what their human employees do. So a good example of this is, you know, you may have somebody in an office that's just sitting there taking phone calls. Well, AI can do that now. And the large companies are already integrating and they're already working on a plan. So the small companies or medium-sized companies that are scared of it, they're just going to get left behind. And if they don't get over their fear, I mean, even like Ford is, you know, changing the whole plan around to make batteries for AI data centers. So, I mean, it's not going anywhere. So the best thing you can do is realize this can do better. This can make my company better. This can make my employees more proactive, because maybe instead of answering the phone, you can have AI come up with the list of prospects and they can call these people. They can even use AI to help script and give them background information. And I just think I use AI every day. I can do 16 hours worth of work in 2 hours now. So, I mean, once you figure out how to use it properly, and I stress properly, and anybody that says, oh, it's too complicated, get on YouTube, look up some YouTube channels and just start learning, because that's how I learn.
Or you could ask AI, hey, teach me how to do prompt engineering for my plumbing business or something. It'll give you some prompts that'll help you grow your business, lead generation, or whatever. So
now I do think there's some fear, there's some warranted fear out there with AI. And one of those things, I don't want to get into a big debate or anything about it, but those flock safety cameras, I think that there are a lot of towns, specifically out west and in the Midwest, they're starting to shut them down because they're just not secure and they're able to track people without warrants and things like that. So I think there are conversations that need to be had. And I'm not just saying it's all good, but I mean, hopefully here in Hardin County, maybe that's just an example of a discussion that should probably be had. Like, do you want to be tracked by anybody that can get into that system and look up your license plate number and see where you've been for the past 30 days?
like with anything, just have to have the proper guardrails, monitoring.
Awesome. All right, one more question, and we have a little bit of time. So if there's someone who specifically has something that they would like to get to the panel, I can walk this to you. So what new developments could we be expecting in Hardin County, and any new growth that we should know about? Thank you, Cody, for the question. Keith, any new developments that we should know about?
I mean, I think that, of course, on the negative side of development was the Blue Oval. So that we've already talked about that. But there were some concerns about some other companies that were, I guess, thought that they were connected to Blue Oval. So Lotte being a big new plant, they haven't really even started up yet. They're getting ready to. And so their product, they've already got contracts in all over the United States. So they're not really going to be affected by that. And they'll be, if they haven't already finished hiring, they'll be hiring some more and really getting their product going and that plant going. So that's a positive. A new plant really just starting up. There was another one, A&P, I believe, is the name of that one in the industrial park. And so I think they work a little connected with Blue Oval, but they are developing some other contracts, and I've heard that they're going to be just fine. I still get information that says we don't have enough housing in Hardin County, and so that is going to continue to be an issue for us. You would think that we would have reached all the rental property that we would ever need, but I still see the data that says we still don't have enough. So all of that ties together, connected. You got to have people to build these things. You got to have people to move the dirt. I mean, all of it is connected. And I still see a whole lot of growth potential in Hardin County. I don't believe we're really slowing down that much. We've got infrastructure that we still got to work on. There's still 4-inch water lines going out into the county that don't really support fire hydrants, for instance. So there's just all kinds of opportunity for growth, and I'm excited about it. It's a big challenge, but it's also exciting.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we have time for a question or two. Does anybody have a specific question they'd like to ask any of our panelists? Perfect. Kason, I'll bring this to you.
Kason Hubbard. So we're surrounded by cities and towns that are known for certain things. Louisville, you've got headquarters for many major companies, and Bardstown obviously dominates the bourbon industry. When we look at E-Town, what do we want to be known for, or what drives businesses here? I know we have a large industrial foundation that has done phenomenal work here, but in terms of our growth in the future, outside of being able to rely on Fort Knox for that growth, what factors do you all see at play for bringing companies and industries to this area and jobs?
I think I mentioned it earlier, and it's been going on since 2018, I think. We still live in this area that's in the top 5 for startup companies, and it has been in the top 5 in the whole country since 2018. I think the fact that land's cheap, we have a logistics hub in Louisville, and there's just a lot of reasons why we are in the top 5, and we have been for so many years. So I think that's my answer to that question.
No, my dad, from when I was very little, I remember hearing the conversations around the fact that Elizabethtown and Hardin County, we were always designated as a corridor for growth. I mean, I can hear him saying it from when I was a little girl. It's how much passes through here and how central we are in terms of the United States. But I think our community specifically has attracted a lot of family-friendly experiences that I think are drawing more people. And I do think it's the low cost of living. I think it's our school districts. I think it's our police department. I mean, it's a very safe community. So I understand what you're saying. What is it specifically? But I personally think it's a culmination of a lot of things. I work with a lot of people moving in. One of the big key things that I want to compliment us on is my family has the opportunity to work with a lot of military members that are retiring. As General Dion mentioned, a lot of people are staying in this area, and they don't have family here. Their kids are spread out all over the United States. And my question is usually, why are you choosing to stay in Elizabethtown, right? Because I would assume that most people return to parents or go live near children. And I get varying answers, but most of the time they're in the line of the cost of living, the friendliness of the community, the central location. We can get just about anywhere in the country really quickly, out of Nashville, out of Louisville, out of Chicago. So, overall, I mean, I'm very encouraged by these conversations. It just seems like we've created a very stable foundation, being a corridor of growth, being directly in line with Nashville and Louisville and Lexington and Bowling Green and Campbellsville. I mean, we're right here in the hub of it all. So anything you guys want to add to that?
No, I agree. And of course, I think from your perspective, location has been it answers a lot of questions, and it's a blessing. I agree that we're family friendly still. It's a safe place to live, and we just check a whole bunch of boxes of people that are looking for someplace to live, and especially military people. But anyone that I've talked to a lot of people that it's like, well, I came from Colorado or I came from wherever, and why are you here? And those are the types of answers. So I'm right there with you.
Perfect. Any other questions? Perfect. Richard Cerisi.
Okay, so this is for all you young people. and this is the old guy in the room talking. When is enough enough? We always keep talking about growth and expansion and everything else, and we're talking about the small town feel, and we feel safe, and we know our neighbors. That goes away when you get the size of Louisville. So where do you put the brakes on it?
Never. Enough is never enough, Mayor Cerisi. Enough will probably never be enough. I think that's the way our society is now. It's how do you get bigger? How do you get better? How do you get smarter? How do you get faster, stronger, right? Everything. Think back to Arnold Schwarzenegger and the bodybuilders back in the day. It's this on steroids, right? So if you can get a car that goes 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, what do you want? A car that can go 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, right? And it's the way that we are. And unfortunately, it's one of the things that ruins a lot of things as our society. But ultimately, it's what makes us the best nation in the world, right? It's everybody's always trying to figure out how to be more efficient, better, stronger, faster, happier, richer, whatever it is. So, double-edged sword, Mayor Cerisi. It's always better in some ways and worse in others.
We stream every week, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. And you can also check out our Facebook page if you can't watch it, and you can watch an edited version that we'll publish later on in that day.
I'll go ahead and wrap this up, and then I'll let you take it from there. So thank you to our incredible panelists, Keith, Phil, Scott, and Dustin. And thank you guys for being here tonight. I'm highly encouraged. I love to see all the familiar faces. It means a lot. Thanks for putting up with me. Let's keep the conversation going, okay? So stick around. Make sure you connect with each other. That's where collaboration occurs. And let's make 2026 a year of real impact for Hardin County. So enjoy the rest of your evening.